Don't Tell My Mom, the podcast that we don't want to tell our moms about. Got great guests on, definitely the biggest guest. We did have a guy who was, if you ever been to North Carolina or anywhere, we have a restaurant called Bojangles, and he's actually sponsored by Bojangles.
Hmm.
So he's the Bojangles champion. So you're kind of neck and neck for most famous.
What's the capital? Is it Charlotte? Is North Carolina? Is that right?
It's Raleigh. It should be
Raleigh.
Charlotte. Charlotte's a
Yeah.
lot bigger.
I think I was in Charlotte. That's where I was once because I had a radio show years ago and we were on in Charlotte that I remember.
Yeah, so I actually work. Oh, Ralph Sutton. Sorry, I didn't
That's
actually
all right.
introduce.
It's all right.
Sutton, host of SDR, host of the Good Sugar podcast, owner of Gas Digital. I mean, accolade after accolade after, you know.
Well, I am also old, so it doesn't sound as impressive when you take anybody's 52-year-old life, condense it to a sentence, it sounds impressive.
I guess that's fair. So I actually work for a radio station down here now, and I'll try to like tell people when I have someone on that I feel like is important.
Hmm.
And I'm like, and then every time I tell someone, like at one time I was gonna have Buff Bagwell on, the WCW wrestler. He
I
wasn't
don't know.
really
Yeah.
that.
Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know much about
So
wrestling.
and I was like, yeah, we're gonna have Buff Bagwell, and everyone there was like, I don't know who that is. Like no one.
Hmm.
And then so this time I was like, all right, well you guys are. I'm like, I have Ralph Sutton coming on. They're like, you have Ralph Sutton? I was like, oh, okay, cool. Everybody know. Okay, great. No one knew who
That's
Buff
funny.
Bagwell was,
Yeah, it's
but
funny because my radio show was pretty big back in the day. So if you have any radio people that have been in it at least another like 10 years, which is pretty
yeah,
common in radio, then they probably knew the show. The show was on about 100 stations at one point. So we
right.
were like a 500,000 listeners a weekend. It was wild. But nowadays it's rare, but I do meet people. If you're in radio and you've been in radio at least 10 years, then you probably know my show.
Yeah, and everyone there was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Oh, okay, sick. You guys actually care about what I do outside of work now. This is awesome.
That's funny. That's
This
funny.
is the
It's
best."
nice to know. It's funny because it is such an in the world that I'm in now, which is podcasting, and
Hmm.
it's mostly comics and MMA people and people that don't know shit about radio. So when I started the podcast, Jay asked me to do it because I was the bigger name 8 years ago. But now he's by far the bigger name. So it's just kind of funny how the tides have turned.
Yeah, no, and that's what I wanted to. I actually only wanted you on so I could try to talk to
Yeah,
Jay.
Jay. Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
no,
Good
but
luck. I barely get to talk to him these days. He's so fucking busy. It's crazy. Yeah.
no, but the podcast you guys are on, for people who don't know, it's SDR Show. And in terms of craziness, you guys are probably one of the
I think we are. I don't think we
I
get the
think,
credit we deserve for the crazy shit. We have done shit. I've done cocaine on the show,
yeah, I mean,
off of a porn star's ass. We have gotten, when I think about the things we've done, I don't know why more. First of all, how we didn't get in trouble. Two, especially in the Me Too world, but everyone's consenting that's doing it. But,
yeah,
we have done things that nobody has ever thought about doing on a podcast. We've taken it so much further than any other podcast I know of has ever done. It's like the way I describe it is imagine Howard Stern back in the day, but he has no rules or regulations, and
yeah.
that's what we have. So we have done things like sometimes I am reminded of things. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't even remember that. We did like a go down on a girl contest. Which one of us goes down on a girl better? And where it was very logical in my mind. One of us went first, one of us went second. We did a coin toss, and we each were given 5 minutes apiece. And there was 30 minutes in between where she showered and reset so she can fully judge on their own merits, right?
Yeah.
But I always felt Jay cheated because his girlfriend joined in. That doesn't count,
Oh, yeah, you
It
can't
doesn't
do
count.
that.
It doesn't count. I get
No.
why she wanted to be there, but I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's not, the gentleman's sport of it. It's just supposed to be one on one.
Yeah, exactly. But I get from his relationship status, she needed to be there, but she could have just watched. It ended up that she ended up kissing the girl, and then it doesn't. Now we're not comparing apples to apples here, people.
Right. Now it's getting sensual. You kind of just went in. It's not even a podcast anymore.
Yeah,
Now you're just watching people have sex.
exactly.
I do like how like in between she kind of did that thing where you like when you're eating sushi and you want to try a new piece, you like have some ginger in between.
Yeah, cleanse the palate. That's what she did.
Cleanse
She
her
did.
palate. She's like, all right, so that
Yeah.
was fun, I guess, and now we're back. Once
Exactly.
you add like kissing and stuff, I feel like you're done. Like
Yeah, it's not fair. Yeah, it isn't fair. But anyway, that it's something that's still, that I asked our producer to put a list together of every stupid contest we've ever done and see what the record is. I don't know what the record is. We've done everything from who's more manly, like we did like arm wrestling, and who could chug the worst tasting whiskey we could find without making a face, like dumb shit like that,
yeah.
to sex things, to name that tune, to all these different things. I would love to know what the overall track record of the 7 years or 8 years we've done the show, who's actually in the lead. I have no idea.
Now, it is funny that you're like, yeah, we arm wrestled. Oh, and then also like we, ate a girl out for 5 minutes, and then oh, okay.
Yeah. We actually, the one that got to this day is the most listened to episode ever. I called it the Olympics, where we hired a $1,000 escort and $100 escort, and we got blindfolded 1-minute blowjobs where we couldn't touch them, we couldn't see them, we couldn't hear them because we had our headphones on, and you just judged it by the 1-minute oral from one girl to the other, and we both went in separately, and we didn't know who was who, and we had to figure out which one was better.
I feel
and
like
we both picked the cheaper girl.
I was gonna say, yeah, because she's actually, working for that money. The one that's there is, well, you paid me, so like, there's no.
And she's way hotter. The other girl was way hotter. If visuals were involved, you would enjoy that one more.
Right.
No touching, no looking, no listening. Just the only sensory was her mouth on your Johnson, and that was it.
Yeah, the $100 one. Now, if you had gone even lower, like $10, that would have probably.
It was hard to. It was hard enough to find $100 and $1,000 one. That was hard to. Whatever. And we couldn't say. I forgot how we put it because we didn't want to say the cheap one and the expensive one, but we said like we didn't want to say high class and low class. I forgot how we put it, but we put it in some sort of politically correct way.
They're both nice women. One just has a better
budget friendly or budget conscious, maybe. I don't remember.
Friendly.
Yeah.
You only have a weekend or you have a whole week.
Yeah, exactly.
Different things. So you have multiple podcasts. You guys you own 2 podcasts. You own a podcast network. How is it going from like the SDR show to Good Sugar, of being like getting blowjobs and then just talking to someone and being like, yeah, when candy bars could be good, but also like...
It's funny. We just had I'm sorry, I got a cough.
You're good.
I'm getting over a cold. We just had Layla Ali, Muhammad Ali's daughter, on Good Sugar, right? And she had brought this up, and I have said this 1,000 times in my life, which is you shouldn't be definable by one thing. If you're just a comedian, if you're just a rock star, if you're just a construction worker, whatever it is, you should have other passions and other aspects to your personality that help define who you are. And I think that there could not be more of an antithesis of differentiators of SDR and Good Sugar, because that is the 180s of my personality. One where I run half marathons and I try to be super health conscious and I try to eat right and blah, blah, blah on the health side. And on the SDR side, who doesn't want to try and have threesomes and talk to rock stars and meet, like all that craziness. So that is the polar opposites that define me and my inner struggles with getting through life, right? So that's how I look at it. But sometimes when I'm doing the show prep for one to the other, it is hilarious. Like I'll be talking to my producer about how we're doing we did one once called, we had 5 guys. It was the one that I remember. 5 guys of varied ethnicity, and a girl got blindfolded, and she was going to and I'm sorry to your listeners, but your mother's not listening, right?
No.
Sorry. Well, she got to taste each penis only, and she had to try and identify their race just by taste. That was the gimmick, and we called it International Street Meat. That was the name, right? So going over the rules of that game while I was prepping for the health podcast at the same time was one of the most ridiculous. Like, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm 50 years old and I'm doing what the fuck is going on? But it's funny. I actually enjoy the polar opposites of it all.
And they are, like you said, that is definitely something. Just sitting in. That's actually what I was going to ask you next. Is like, so obviously, Big J is vulgar. He has no problems talking about whatever, thinking about whatever. So when you guys are coming up with this stuff, is it a group effort, or is it just like you
Well,
rattling the stuff off, or he like,
the
this,
truth is, Jay would not admit this, but Jay is the bigger pervert of the two of us. Jay makes it like all the ideas are mine, right? But one day I'm going to string together all the text messages of Jay's weekly text message saying, "Let's get some girl in this week to do something awful." Like that's his only text to me really every week, right? And I've come to expect that from him, right? But generally, what will happen is I'll pitch an idea or he'll pitch an idea. His usually are hard to make happen because they're too ridiculous. So then I'll try and tone it down to a point where we could probably find girls willing to do it. The one we're still trying to get done is to identify girls by their shits. We want 3 hot girls to shit and take pictures of it, and then we have to try and figure out which girl is which. And we have not found girls willing to do that yet. And I said, we just have to. The guy does, like, someone doesn't need to watch you shit, but they need to verify that it's your shit. You know what I mean? So it could be a girl that's standing in the room, and when you're done, she'll take the picture. But we don't just want you to send us a random picture. We try to make sure everything's as realistic as possible.
Right. You're really covering all grounds.
Yeah. But I've yet to find girls willing to let us take a picture of their shit after the fact and then come on stage and talk about their dumps. We have not been able to pull that one off yet. That's one that we have not been able to make happen yet, that I'm hoping will happen at Skankfest, which is in September. I'm hoping we could find 3 girls willing to do that. Like, I'm getting there the day before. We have 24 hours to find 3 girls willing to do it, and then maybe we could do it. It's a matter, like, I did this show once. It was for this. I used to host this rock cruise called Shiprock. Did it for 10 years, and we did these like little vignettes that they would play in the cabins at night, so that there'd be other content to watch. So we'd film shit during the day, they'd edit it and air it in the cabins at night. And we did this thing called Talking Shit, where I would take a shit next to an adjoining stall, a rock star, and I'd be interviewing them about their new album while we were legitimately shitting, right? So we'd have to hold in our shit and say, "All right, dude, I'm ready. Let's go. We got to go now." Like, we had to time our shits. So we'd go shit together. And that was a ridiculous thing. We called it Talking Shit. And that was hard to fucking film because both of you need to shit at the same time. It's not easy to do. This, just give us a window. Give us your phone number. When you're ready, we'll send someone to just take a picture of your shit. But we haven't been able to make it happen yet.
That sounds like what was that movie? Who was it? Shia LaBeouf was in it, and like the phone, like they would call them and like give them like different tasks and stuff to do. Sounds like, take the shit now, do it now.
Yeah, that was the boat. Was the band was Non-Point, and I think I did it with Seven Dust too. But and the whole day I'm like, dude, you ready to shit? Not yet. All right, dude, I got like 20 minutes left, or I'm gonna shit my pants. You know, like, it was ridiculous.
Grab us some Arby's. It's time to go.
Exactly.
How mad are you that if you wanted to come back and do that Hot Ones is already taken?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I in the beginning I thought I think I could make it through Hot Ones, but I'm not big enough for Hot Ones to have me on. But when the beginning we were talking before they blew up, and I was going to do it, and it just didn't happen because originally they were in New York and they went out to LA, but whatever, it didn't happen. But I wanted to do on SDR hot pepper roulette, where you have 6 little cubes of a pepper, so you can't tell which is which. 1 or 2 is deadly, the others are not. Right. And you just, so the game might be over in 2 seconds. You get the wrong one, but
that's it.
Because Jay generally flies out the next day to do comedy, he doesn't want to do it because he knows it's going to wreck his rectum, and he doesn't want to be on a flight in agony. So we've not done it yet, but that's on the list of things we'll do one day.
If he needs to cancel, I mean, just let people know, like, he ate a pepper. We can't.
Yeah. How to cancel everything because of Jay's tender tummy.
He had a bite of a cube of a pepper. Yeah. So you mentioned that there's one that you want to do you haven't done yet, but what's like a theme or something you guys talked about doing, and it was just like one of you was like, no, like that's impossible.
Oh, so Jay wouldn't, which is weird. The 2 that Jay wouldn't do that surprised me. Jay wouldn't do cocaine, right? So I did it with 2 other comics. I've never done any drugs in my life. Once a year on the show, I try a drug, right? We haven't done any since COVID, but we'll do something probably before the end of the year. Jay wouldn't do it. So he was there, but he didn't do coke. The second one that I thought was weird that he wouldn't do was I wanted us to, we had the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race coming on or something like that. I forget exactly who she was. I said, let's get the makeup artists from RuPaul's Drag Race, and let's see which one of us makes a better chick, and we'll do a contest.
Yeah.
He would not do it. So we got 3. It's not funny if it's just me doing it. Then it looked like I just wanted to dress up like a girl. So then we got 3 of our staff to do it instead. So that's how we pulled that one off. But I still don't know why he wouldn't do it. This Wednesday, we're doing, about a year ago or 2 years ago, we did the Butthole Beauty Battle, where 3 girls came in and we judged them solely on who had the best looking butthole, nothing else. Right. Mm-hmm. So this week we're doing round 2, where it's Jay versus I. 2 gay male porn stars and 1 female porn star are judging our assholes to see who has the nicer asshole. So today I'm going to start making sure I look and clean and start, making sure I look as good as possible, because we're shooting in 2 days and I want to have a decent looking asshole, because I feel bad for the people that have to look at it.
I would say just liquid diet, maybe a bunch of dude wipes.
Oh yeah, I'm going to make sure that I get in there, get in as deep as possible.
The bidet. Just go outside the hose at that point.
And then the one Jay wanted to do, so I'm in my home studio, and this used to be where Gas Digital started. It looks different now, but we were in here and we had some S&M chick on, or she was like a fetish queen or something. I forget exactly, but Jay asked, what's the number 1 and number 2 thing guys ask you to do? And I think it was either 1 or 2 was shit stuff, like things with shit, right? Yeah. So Jay wanted us to have her shit in our hands, and then we high-five each other, right? Okay. And I said, I will do this with you on one condition. We stop recording right now and we go to your house. I don't want to do it in my house. And he didn't want to do that. They're like, all right, well, then I guess we're not doing it.
You got to worry about like cuts on your hand and stuff too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all those things. I mean, I just felt like, we're in my bedroom, my second bedroom. It's also now, what's funny is, and Lewis is my business partner. His name's Louis J. Gomez. He's a comic also. And he and I have had arguments because he feels, which I get, we take it too far in the studios. Like, we use these studios for rentals. Adam Carolla just rented the studios. Joe Rogan rents the studios. A lot of, like, the New York Knicks were using it for a while, and the cast of The Sopranos used it for a while. If they Google my show by some chance and see a girl pissing on the table, it may not want them to come in and do a show, which I get. So now this week I've been rebuilding a home studio so that we can do crazy shit again. Because he was so ready to argue with me, Lewis. He's like, how fucking dare you? And I'm like, no, I'm not arguing with you. You're right. You're 100% right. We are going to figure into something out. So I started building a small little studio back in my apartment so that we can do the crazy shit again. Like, most of the stuff now, the rule is no body fluids. So until we get in my home studio, there's no body fluids allowed.
So then a couple of dry episodes from now.
Yeah. So, I mean, butthole booty battle, you're just looking up our assholes. But at least as long as I don't have shit my pants, I think we're fine.
With Louis J. Gomez, you just might remind me of something. So you posted a while back a picture of a screenshot of a text you were having. I think it was like with your office manager. And you were like, this is what it's like to work with someone like this. And you texted him and you were like, hey, we need to order like this, this, and this. And it was like all technical stuff. And then they were like, yeah, I'll get right on that. Hold on, I'm ordering Lewis like 17 blunts and like all this stuff. And I was like,
yeah, that is our life. In fact, like literally, this morning we were prepping for the meeting, and we do a Monday morning meeting with the whole staff, like through Zoom. We used to do it in studio. We're doing it now in studio again, but I'm sick, so I didn't want to do it in studio because I don't want to get anybody sick. Right. But so normally we do it in studio, and we Lewis, me, our office manager, and our EP, we meet beforehand, and I say, look, these are the topics that I need to bring up this week. And mine are like, I noticed the graphics on this channel was off and the audio on this wasn't great. And there's like things I need to, and Lewis's are like, I want to take the staff to Great Adventure for the weekend. We have to plan Jamaica. Like, he just wants to have fun, which is great. He's the fun boss far and above. He's the guy they all want to hang out with, for sure. And I get it. He's far more popular, far more talented in terms of like social media. He is the guy that everybody wants to be around. I get it. I'm not that guy. If I didn't have to be on social media, I wouldn't be, but I have to be, so I get it. But yes, we are 180s of each other, but we complement each other. I think if they all just worked for me or they just worked for him, either nothing would get done or everybody would be miserable. It's one or the other. So, it is what it is.
You want to, it's like parenting. You want to have like
Yeah, the good
you
man, the
know,
good boss, and the bad boss. And also, though, the crazy thing is, which I say this often, sometimes Lewis is the voice of logic and reason, which blows my mind. Like I
that is crazy
sometimes
to
it's
hear.
because I'm so close to like dealing with customer problems and stuff like that. And I just want to tell, you know what, fucking ban this guy. Fuck it. I don't care. I don't need his fucking $7 a month. Fuck him. And Lewis like, no, we are in a customer service business and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he's always right with shit like that. Or sometimes if I want to fire somebody or whatever, he is always the one that's giving them the benefit of the doubt. He's so fucking loyal. It's amazing to me. And so that yin and yang works. It definitely works.
Yeah. And if you actually like ever watch any of his stuff or like listen to him on his stuff, you would be like, I can't see him defending anybody. If he looks more like he would, or actually he would tear someone apart for like if they pissed him off or
Yeah,
anything.
it's crazy. Yeah, that's why it's so wild that he is very often the voice of reason. It is. Sometimes I'll be like, Jesus Christ, what is happening right now? You know, it makes no sense.
So we talked a lot about SDR stuff like that, which is great. But you know, you do have the other podcast, Good Sugar. What made you? I mean, what kind? You have that dynamic where you're like, you know, one's butthole, one's how to eat healthier, so you don't have bad poop or things like that. So when it comes to like when you're like turning off like the sexual stuff and you're moving into like the good sugar and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
like what are you looking for when you are talking to guests or when you are like booking or just when you're just looking
So
for stuff to look up to talk about?
first of all, it started out very organically in that I wasn't going to do a health podcast. The the co-host of that show has a company in New York that was extremely successful called Juice Press. They're a raw organic vegan juice company. They grew to 100 locations. I actually worked for him there. We're childhood friends. He called me one day because I do have a background in food. I ran a restaurant, went to cooking school, and ran a restaurant for 4 years here in New York years ago. And he was looking for somebody to just help him because he got a investor and he knew he was going to blow up to more stores. He just said, I need someone I could trust that knows this space. So I started working with him and helped him go from 3 stores to about 30 or 40 stores. And I left because I just couldn't take it anymore. And I started SDR. And then he went on to get it up to like 90 stores and sold it. And then he was on a non-compete for 2 years right before COVID.
Hmm.
And he came in to start a podcast on health and wellness. In his mind, if he gets it popular enough, it would be a great transition to when he opens up his next store. He'd already have an audience built in because
Yeah.
he was in a non-compete for brick and mortar. And so originally it wasn't called Good Sugar, but once he decided the name of his new business was going to be Good Sugar, I am a small investor of it. 5% of it, but and he's going to open a location. We should call it Good Sugar. So that's how the podcast started. I wasn't going to do it with him. He came in to do it by himself. He realized he couldn't do a show on his own and asked me to sit in with him. And originally the concept was to try and get me healthier and get me to feel better. That was the initial idea. So that tracked the first 2 years of the show. Since then, I've lost 75 pounds.
Wow.
I'm not saying the show is the only reason, but it helped for sure. I think everybody, if you have someone to be accountable to, is the biggest difference. I was always about 240 in my life, and then I ballooned up to 320 something. Just after my father died and a few other issues and working, whatever, I ballooned up to 320. And when we started that show, he asked me the first episode, "Are you happy?" I said, honestly, maybe 45, 50% happy. Most of the time I'm not happy. And that was the caveat that started the podcast to try and figure out a way to get me in a better headspace. And that's what happened over the course of 2 years, hoping that we would help other people as well. And I am cynical by nature. So when we bring in these gurus that are supposed to be great at helping, I will look at it through a super analytical lens as to whether or not I feel it's genuinely going to make a difference. Also, I'll go out and try everything. I've had not colonoscopies, colonics. I've done the stretching. I've done the IVs. I'll try everything to see if I feel better. Of course, it's completely anecdotal, but
yeah,
I'll try it and see if I feel a difference. Cryotherapy, whatever it is, I'll try them all and then talk about it on the show. And that's what we've done, dozens of those.
wow. That's first of all, congratulations. Obviously, anybody that can cut out that much weight, that's incredible.
Yeah, and now, by the way, I went from 2 years ago, I couldn't run 30 seconds. I have run now 5 half marathons. My next one is in October in Iceland, and next year I'm going to do 4 half marathons in 4 different countries.
I do see you posting a lot on your Instagram about stuff like that.
Yeah, I get a lot of shit for it. What's funny is the funny thing is, which I really appreciate, that boy, there's this about the dynamic of the human mind. I'd say it's 50-50 down the middle. The people that DM me saying, thank you, you've inspired me to go out and either run or bike, whatever, because I watch you do it. When you're miserable, you do it. To the amount of people that shit, like Tim Dillon, who's a huge he did like a 5-minute rant on he hopes I die, get hit by a car, which fine, but I always say, why is it the guys that don't look like they could run 2 minutes that are the ones that are shitting on my 2-mile run? So right. It all depends. And I'm fine with, hey, if it inspires you to hate me or love me, at least it inspired you, and that's fine.
Yeah, any inspiration is better than no inspiration.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than like Hitler and stuff. But the have you ever had a guest on Good Sugar, like a guru or anything, that you're just like, this is crazy enough that this could actually turn into something on like SDR or like?
Well, what's funny, the one thing that happened that sticks out is we had a girl on, and she was like a celebrity health chef and fitness guru chick. The first line in her bio was that she was the executive chef at the Playboy Mansion for 5 years, right? And her last name, I can't remember it now. It's funny, it feels like a Seinfeld episode, but it was a euphemism for vagina. I don't remember what the name was. Let's say it was Sniz, but it wasn't Sniz. But it's something like that. So I said, I mean, it's the first line in her fucking bio. I said, do you think that you got the job at the Playboy Mansion because your last name is synonymous with vagina? And she was so upset that they refused to let us air the episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then my publicist, who does booking for both, not my publicist, the booker who books for both, said, I think you thought you were on the other show. Right. And I said, if the first line of her bio wasn't talking about the Playboy Mansion, I wouldn't have never even thought about it. But because it was in there, I brought it up, and then we never got to air that episode.
Yeah. You would think too, someone that has that, they've definitely heard it before. I don't. Maybe she's got mad that she's heard it so many times, or maybe she just.
I don't know. The shitty thing that she did that really bothered me was that she acted like the interview was fine, and then was texting her publicist, "Fuck these guys, I don't want to air it." So she made us waste a 40-minute interview, and then at the end, like, just if you're not happy, just tell me you're not happy.
Yeah, just let me know, because now I've wasted, everybody's wasting each other's time.
Yeah, and you could have just as easily said, you know what, I don't want to do this interview, or I want to start over. I feel that was disrespectful. That would have been cooler.
That, cut it out, edit this part out, literally, anything else. So you've done interviews. I mean, you do gurus, you do chefs with vagina last names, poop and handshakes, all that other stuff.
All that stuff.
I was reading an article a while ago when I first started reaching out to like people to have on the podcast and things like that. And it was an interview that you did. And the guy was asking you, and he was like, yeah, so like, what do you do to like what'd you do to start first promoting, your podcast and stuff? And one of the things you said was you had these stickers, and you told yourself, you're handing out, I think it was like 5 stickers a day or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I still do it.
Oh, wow. You still do both podcasts, or?
Just for SDR, because the weird thing about Good Sugar, without getting too technical, is that we'll never run ads on Good Sugar because Marcus feels it's counter, as my co-host, to his brand. He doesn't want to endorse products that he's not selling or whatever. So the fact that Good Sugar is in the top 60 of health and wellness right now, great, but I don't make a dime from Good Sugar. I never will.
Right.
I own a piece of the company. So when we open the store, great, but I don't, if the Good Sugar went to the #1 health show, I still wouldn't make $1 from it. So with SDR, I have stickers at my front door. I grab them as I leave the house every day.
Wow. Yeah, I actually have I had these stickers I made. You can't even see them because it matches the back. Great. Awesome.
But yes, I do. I believe in ABP, always be promoting. I also consider my day a failure. It's different now with COVID. I last year I didn't go out as much. I'm going out again now. But everywhere I was, I would just talk to people and say, hey, you listen to podcasts? Oh, you should check out my podcast. And while you're at it, just subscribe. Who cares? It takes 2 seconds. Give a review. Give a 5-star review. And I mean, if you look at the SDR Show reviews on iTunes, probably 30% of them are like, here's your fucking review. Like, you know, that, and that's fine. I don't care. You give me a 5-star review. I don't give a shit if you didn't mean it or not, you know? So yeah, that's part of it. The story I've told a million times is I was on jury duty, and by the end of that jury duty, I got 11 subscribers. You know, the rest of my jurors all subscribed to my podcast by the end of the trial.
It could have been 12 if you had voted not guilty.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So other than that, I mean, like obviously, you know, you started from where you started, and everybody else starts from different, you know, people start from nothing. They're recording on like a Walmart mic and there's stuff like that. Or I mean, tips I feel like and like tricks and stuff are always universal. I feel like you can give the same trick to someone has like 1 million subscribers and someone has none.
Right.
Like what else did you do to kind of get there to where you were like, all right, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that, or I'm not going to be.
Well, you know, there's a few things. One is you want to be very engaged with the podcast community. So I am part of every stupid Facebook group and Reddit thread there is and talk about podcasting, because you never know where the next great inspiration or idea or creative thing to do will come from. And usually a bunch of other podcasters are a lot smarter than me will have ideas. I'm like, oh shit, all right, I'll take that idea. Like I remember when audiograms first became a thing before I was doing video. So I started doing that, you know, which is the picture with the little, you know, audio file, so that on Instagram, and now most people are using video, but at the time it was like, wow, what a great fucking idea. And so I started doing that. So that's number one, be engaged socially with fellow podcasters. What I also truly believe, the biggest takeaway that I've gotten, I'll give you the positive and the two of them, they're both positive. But one is you can rarely get people to jump platforms. So all the best Instagram, YouTube, TikTok promotions in the world will rarely transfer to podcast listens. They might raise awareness, and there's a percentage of people that will go check it out, but it doesn't transfer to podcast listeners. It just does not. People, I'm on TikTok. I don't want to listen to your stupid podcast. That's really, for the most part, what it is. But you should be everywhere people are looking. We had a podcast clip go viral recently on TikTok with Will Wheaton from Star Trek. I think it has 800,000 views right now, right? It's a short clip. It just went viral on TikTok. I don't fucking know why. That episode didn't do that well. You know, comparatively to the other episodes, it did not do that well. So it tells you, it's not like a bunch of people are like, oh my God, I have to hear the rest of this. Let me go find that podcast. It doesn't happen, right? It is what it is. That's number one. Number two, you want to go on where people will most likely listen to you, which is other podcasts. So that's why I will go on any podcast that asks me to go on. I don't ask you, how many listeners do you have? I don't give a shit. If you want me on, to this day, I've never turned anyone down. If I can do it, I'll do it. If you're not, like the ones I've turned down are podcasts that give you homework assignments. Like one guy actually asked me, can you write me the 15 questions that you want me to ask you? So I was like, yeah, sure. So my questions were, why are you so awesome? Why is your dick so big? Why does every girl, including my wife, want to fuck you? So then he didn't want to have me on, you know, but I'm not doing your fucking homework for you, you know, or shows that want you to watch a TV show or a movie before I'm not doing that. That I won't do. But if you want me to just come on, I'll always come on. I don't give a shit if you have 5 listeners or 5 million, I'll come on. So I think everybody should do that. There are great groups. Like I said back before, you're a part of those groups. Everybody's always looking for guests. There's a shortage of guests. The greatest thing about podcasting compared to every other form of social media, because that's what it really is if you were going to start a YouTube channel or a TikTok page or whatever, if you got 100,000 people to follow you on TikTok and watch every clip you put on, amazing. You will make $0 from that. Zero. It means nothing on TikTok. You need tens of millions to make money. And also, you are one of, I think it's 5 billion people on TikTok. I think, right? So you're one of 5 billion and you need millions to follow you to make money. If you're a podcaster, you're one of a million, give or take. So 5 billion or a million, you're one of a million. That's a far smaller audience base, you know, competitive base. And then You got 100,000 people to listen to you. You can make a fucking living for that 1 hour a week of doing that. You get 100,000 people, you make a good living from that.
Yeah.
So if you could make money with 10,000 people, you can make money. But I'm talking about you could live comfortably if you have 100,000 listeners, depending on how you want to live. But so when you look at it that way, well, why would you give a fuck about TikTok or Instagram or YouTube? Yeah, you got to be there. But what you care about is your podcast listeners. Because that's where you make your money. The SDR Show, our YouTube does fine. I think we have 20,000 subscribers. I think the average video gets like 3,000 to 5,000 views. It's nothing compared to our listenership. Because I rarely talk about our YouTube. If you find us on YouTube, great. I'm happy for you. But I want you to listen to the free version of my podcast because that's where I make the most money. That's why I think podcasting is such a brilliant platform. And I encourage everybody to start a podcast. It's so fucking easy. It's crazy easy. It's hard to stick with it. It's hard to make money on it, but that's across the board. If you think it's hard to make money on a podcast, try and make money on TikTok. Good fucking luck.
Yeah. No, I've had buddies on there that have like my brother had at one point like 30-something thousand followers on TikTok from like a stupid, dance BS thing. They got like 6 million views. And I'm like, oh yeah, like that's awesome. Cause like before like YouTube, if you were like, I got 6 million views, people are like, oh shit, you're like the next thing. But you said on TikTok there, the same thing you just did, someone else is doing because they're just scrolling up and down.
It means nothing.
It means absolutely nothing. I was like, are you getting anything from that? Like, he's like, no. He's like, some guy wanted me to wear a shirt, but that's about it.
Yeah, it means nothing. It means fucking nothing. We had a couple of videos on YouTube go to like almost 1 million views. Means nothing. You get it, plus I don't mean to be technical, but there is a term in all of media called a CPM rate, cost per thousand, which is CP and cost per M is the Roman numeral for 1,000. What is the ratio? What are you getting paid per 1,000 listeners, right? On YouTube, if you're lucky, I think it's like $2, $3, maybe as much as $5 if you are like a very clean show, like a G-rated show for maybe $5, but the average person's like $2, $1, whatever. TikTok, it's like 50 cents, something like that. On a podcast, if you have a good high ROI podcast, return on investment podcast, it could be $20. So that is a big difference. And that's why you can make good money on a podcast with 100,000 listeners. You cannot do that on any other platform.
Right. No. And then also I feel like, with videos and stuff, you always have to, like, obviously with podcasts, like you want to post like at least, once a week or things like that. When you're a quote unquote content creator doing videos, it's like, okay, they're done watching that. Now I got
right. And it's true. People are very used to the once a week schedule of a podcast. That's very common. But if you're on TikTok or whatever, and you're not putting out through at least a video a day, you're losing your fucking audience.
Yeah.
I hate being on all those. So I hate it all. If it was up to me, I would be on none of it, but I have no choice. You got to do it. I hired someone to do it, so I just don't. I try to take pictures once in a while. The only thing that's 100% me, if you're following me on I Am Ralph Sutton, my runs are me. I take the screenshot and that's me. Nothing else I post. Everything else is someone else doing it for me.
I do see a lot of the runs and stuff. I was actually going to mention, so what's funny is, and I don't want to keep you much longer, but just going back to Instagram, months ago, like way long ago, I don't know, like if you were just doing like some weird follow spree or something like that, but you actually followed me. Like,
I had nothing to do with any of it. I think one of the people that was doing my social media thought the smart thing was to follow a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't fucking do that. And it's fucking hacky, just please. But they were like, oh, look how fast you're growing. I'm like, yeah, but it's like disingenuous. Yeah. Now I'm following it. First of all, I think I follow about 2,000 people. 1,500 of them are probably girls I want to bang. That's probably what it is, if I'm being honest. And then another 300 or 400 are bands or, comedians. Probably the most part right now.
Well, you're not following me anymore, so I guess you don't want to bang.
Oh, sorry. I told them to unfollow every single person they followed because I was so pissed at them for doing it. I made them do it.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. I just thought it was funny that I got to follow and I was like, no, you're fine. I got to follow. And I was like, Oh shit! All right. Well, I do stand up. Maybe you saw something you liked. Maybe. I just
I'm
found out
sorry.
the kid was
I'm
like, "Fuck,
sorry
I
about
gotta get
that.
all these followers." No, it's totally cool. Don't worry about it. It to me, it's just hilarious.
Yeah,
Um,
it's shitty. I think it was like a tactic done 10 years ago. I was like, dude, I fired that person. I'm like, dude, that is like hacky. I don't want to fucking do that,
yeah,
and it also it's disingenuous. I just don't like it.
yeah. There was actually, I think, Riff Raff did that at one point, and that was like my claim to fame is like Riff Raff followed me back because I
Uh,
retweeted one of his tweets like in 2012 or something like that. Well, I had 30 followers and one was Riff Raff, so I was like,
I
yeah.
just saw something funny on TikTok where Beyonce was following one dude, some random dude, and he had like
Mhm.
no followers. And in the course of a month, he grew to like 200,000 followers, and he didn't know what was going on. And then he found out, oh, Beyonce's following me. He had no idea why. So he DM'd Beyonce and said, hey, I really appreciate it. I just don't know why you're following me. And she wrote LMAO and then unfollowed him, and that was it.
That was just follow
Yeah.
spree is getting
She
everybody.
followed someone by accident, I guess. I don't fucking know, but that's fucking funny as shit.
There's one about again, I don't want to keep you, but just because we're talking about it, there's actually if you check, I don't know if it's still there or not. So Obama, they did the same thing. They followed a bunch of people. If you go through his followers,
Mhm.
it's either one that's like a bunch of like just all these furry sex people like on Twitter, which is hilarious to think about. Like Obama is like a secret furry. That's
That'd be
just like,
awesome if that was true. That'd be
I mean, it would be
cool.
great. You should have him
Yeah.
on and ask him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
in
we're
his
gonna poop in
outfit.
your hand, but can you tell us if
Yeah.
you're a furry or
Yeah.
not?
That would be
Well, you
great.
kind of plugged your stuff. I know you kind of don't want to be on socials and stuff, but obviously you got Skankfest and everything else. Anything you want, you want to put out
Yeah,
there.
it's easy. Just I believe in social symmetry, so I'm everywhere at I am Ralph Sutton. That's where you can go to follow me everywhere. We used to be at the SDR Show everywhere, but then somebody complained on our at the SDR Show on Instagram got banned, which sucks. But that's now the SDR Show underscore backup. But just listen to the SDR Show and Good Sugar. That's all that matters. I'm happy if you are, and if I offended you, I apologize to whoever's listening.
Good way to cover
Yeah.
grounds. That's okay. We've our closest thing we've gotten to SDR shows. I had a buddy on who didn't know what the Amazon position was, so we pulled it up and made him watch.
Oh,
Uh,
that's fun.
yeah, I think that's illegal, but anyway, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries, and I'll share it on social when you just send it to me, and I'll regram it. As they call
Yeah,
it.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you so
All right,
much.
buddy.
If
Thank
you
you.
want me to headline at Skankfest, just let me know. But
I'll let you know.
all right, cool. Thank you so
All right,
much.
be good, buddy.
I mean, you too.